I have a couple of wonderful people here that are looking to purchase an AquaCure, so we're just going to make a video of the unboxing and setting it up and answering questions and the whole thing. So here we have Nick opening the box. This is what people would normally see when they when it arrives in the mail. It would of course have their shipping label and name and stuff on it. And any comments you have, just
not yet.
Talking to you. So we have the box of accessories, and then the actual machine itself, which usually comes with a serial number on it and what have you. So that's what we do. And that comes the machine. Thank you. Here we have the lye. When there's lye included, we put it in that little compartment right there. It isn't actually officially included, but we do try to put it in because a lot of shipping companies won't ship lye to special regulations, so we never list it as included because sometimes it can be. So the lye is 99.9% pure NaOH. Anything less than that, you want to make sure that it, well, you don't want to use less than that. You want as pure lye as possible. Thank you. Very good. So,
Can we purchase this, George?
yeah, there's lots of places online where you can get that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would, of course, I'll have that all in my frequently asked questions,
Okay.
so that, but you can email me or anything like that. So here we have the AquaCure AC50, ready to go. And there's the accessories as we're bringing them out. That's a drinking water bubbler. You notice it has one short stem and one long one. And it has a line. This one doesn't have the line. We'll have to make sure it gets put on there. Line
Yeah.
right there where my thumb is, there's supposed to be a water level line. And the same here, only this one. The reason I guess that one missed the line is because we now have labels that have a line on it. So there's the, Nick will show you how to set it up. Then we have a drip cloth, because there's inevitably some drips. And the power cord, and then a bag of further accessories we'll get to in just a minute. Goggles, just the paperwork and operation manual. Now, of course, you would, as it says up here in the dangers, you want to read your operation manual. And this is the operation manual. And there's a piece of paper that says log on to the website, and any additional information or updated information is going to be in your account on the website. But right now, the resources on the website isn't up, so mostly you just email me. And so this is the AquaCure manual, which will show you pretty much step by step as we go here what goes through there. Okay? So the first thing we do is actually the first thing we should do is mix the lye.
Okay.
Because then that can be cooling down while we're doing everything else. So far?
You mix the lye once at the beginning.
Right, now we're going to put the gloves on, even though the lye mixture we're making isn't any more caustic than strong soap, but we'll demonstrate good technique.
Okay.
And we mix the lye outdoors.
Oh, interesting.
Just because it should be done in a well-ventilated area.
Oh, nice and
Yeah,
sunny.
she's got to get, yeah, it's nice and sunny.
So you do mix it outside? So
Yes.
What about us when we have, the next time we have to do
Well,
this?
in about 5 years or so, you'll just do it outside.
Okay.
You could do it on a step or on a chair or,
Okay.
you know, anything. You could do it inside too if you have a fan that just kind of blows away.
Okay.
Because what happens is when the lye is being mixed, one of the side effects is a whole bunch of ozone and stuff comes off. And those fumes, if you breathe them, it'll feel like you're it chokes. It's very rough in the throat, in the nostrils. So we just do it outdoors so that the you don't have to worry. Actually, that takes about half of the container. So Nick's doing it all proper. So yeah, go ahead, do it proper. But
So what's that?
and then you just start mixing right away when you put it in, because otherwise what happens is the lye settles to the bottom and gets hard, which is okay. You could just continue to mix even when it's down and hard, but it'll you have to mix longer in order to dissolve it if it sets up like concrete at the bottom of the jar. So in any case, you see it gets all cloudy looking.
Yes.
And as it gets cloudy looking, it actually starts to heat up. The reaction of the lye. That's one reason you want to use a glass jar. So it gets almost boiling actually. And as you're doing it.
And a stainless steel.
Yeah, we're using a stainless steel bread knife. Just
Makes sense.
yeah. You can use plastic or wood, but we like stainless steel. It just cleans up really easy. And we're using distilled water we made with our own distiller. So distilled water everywhere through the machine.
Yeah, you keep saying
Is the
that,
question?
yeah.
Yes. The question is, what kind of water? The answer is distilled water.
Yes. Yeah, you were quite.
Okay, you put in more. Yep. Yeah, a little bit more. It won't take a lot more. You actually get poured in most of it right off the bat. Okay, that's good. Yeah. So you can see about half of the container is. Yep. And then if you go to do it again, you would put in the other half. But generally speaking, you don't need. We'll just screw the lid on tight. Now you want to keep the lid on tight because it's hydroscopic and it'll absorb moisture from the air and then harden up like a cement brick, which it'll still be okay. The lye will be fine. You just have to chip it all out. It's easier if it flows like powder.
I won't need this until
Years in the
next 5
future.
years.
Yeah. If the lye mixture gets weak for some reason, first of all, there has to be a reason because the lye is supposed to stay in the machine. But if it does get weak, you can just throw in an ounce or two more of lye, and it'll probably work just fine. But when you go to mix up a whole nother mixture, and I'm still using a mixture in one of my electrolyzers that I mixed in 1986. Okay, the lye doesn't go bad, and it's supposed to stay in the machine. Yes. So that's another reason I can offer a lifetime warranty on my machines, because I know that they're going to last for decades. Okay, so now we'll just leave this out here for the time being and let it cool down, and we'll go inside and start at work with the machine. Oh, we're having some fun here.
Yeah,
And thank you so much for participating in this video. I wasn't getting to it, and I do so much better when I have an audience.
Oh, I can see
So
that.
it's a real impromptu video, but at least it'll tell people what's going on. Yeah. So there's a screw with a larger head on it. See, the head of this screw is larger than the other ones on the one side, because we actually put the humidifier bracket on this side. But there's really no technical reason why it can't go on this side or even at the back of the machine or anywhere that's more convenient for you if it happens to be. We just like setting it up here on this particular side. Oh, and the bracket actually has a piece of rubber attached to the back of it so that when it screws in, everything holds tight. But it is legal. You can, if you wish, drill another hole here and put another screw there if you really want to have it really secure. But that's secure. It does a good job. Okay, so again, distilled water.
That's dehumidifier?
That's distilled.
No, but I mean the actual.
Oh yes, this is the humidifier.
Okay,
Yes,
that's what
we're working with the humidifier right now.
Okay.
So he fills it to the line where it says fill the line,
Yep.
and puts that on there like that, making sure it's not cross-threaded. Sometimes it's easy to do on these. Yeah. So, and it doesn't hurt it if it is. You just end up not. All of a sudden you're not getting gas production out someplace, and
That would be a leak.
we'll demonstrate that. Yeah. So now this is the drinking water bubbler. You getting all this? Six? You're good. We have thumbs up from the lady. Okay. So again, there's supposed to be a line right up here.
Okay.
Okay, and he's just got to grab some more distilled water. In the meantime, as you're seeing, it's relatively simple tools that we'll be using to put it together. Most everybody has a Phillips head screwdriver.
Well,
And
the directions are pretty
yeah,
good.
everything will be good. And this video, of course, will be available online. So you'll be able to see how you put your own machine together.
Yeah, no, it's good. No, it's great that we, George,
Thank you,
this is
yes.
really. While we're waiting for
Yes.
Nick, the goggles,
Yes.
it's in one of my
Oh,
questions.
yeah, Nick actually didn't put the goggles on when he
Okay.
was mixing the lye.
Okay.
And the instructions say that goggles are a good idea. But again, that's one of the butt covering things, because you saw that the mixing of the lye really wasn't any more dangerous than mixing Kool-Aid.
But Nick knows what he's doing.
He does
Perhaps-
know what he's doing,
perhaps we
yes, that's
don't.
right, exactly. So it's always a good idea. So
Yes.
thank you very much.
Yep.
It's one of the things I really appreciate about doing this kind of a video, because I know how to do things so much, I forget stuff,
Yeah.
right? So,
No, and Nick knows what he's doing, so but for
exactly.
us, I can see
So,
what, yep,
yeah, so Nick would have had these goggles
yes, yep, okay.
on if he'd been doing it according to safety protocols.
Okay, so, well, that's a long tube, right, George?
Yeah,
That's
there's a
long.
short hose and a long one.
Okay.
Now on the long hose, but yeah, we'll get to the long hose after. Right now we're doing the short one. So the short one hooks onto the, just like that with the adapter.
No, no,
There's
no, no.
a little adapter piece. That's right.
That's not right.
No, this one goes up there, but the one you
Oh,
had
yeah.
is correct for this.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it is correct.
Yep,
for that
that's,
one.
that's
Okay.
correct for that one. So this is the humidifier to drinking water bubbler hose. It's about 3 feet long, 2 or 3 feet. And in this particular case, the drinking water bubbler has a small outlet or inlet on this side and a big one on that side. Some of them are that we had, the older ones, older style had 2 big ones, and then you just use another one of these adapter pieces here on it. So in the meantime, he just puts that on there, and it holds on really tight once it goes on. So the only practical way of disconnecting this lid from over here is to disconnect this side of the hose and just leave this hose attached to
Okay.
the drinking water
So
bubbler.
you don't want to take that out and back in and down?
No, and if that is too difficult to put on, you can just heat it with a hairdryer,
Yes.
just to make the plastic soft, and it'll just slide right on there.
Do they crack, George, after a
No,
while?
no.
Okay.
I've been using some for about 15, 20 years, and
Okay.
never had a problem. And these are all food grade certified hoses. They're food grade safe. Now that particular one, as you can see, has a thread on it that fits into the top of the humidifier, and then on the other side it has a 1/4 inch hole thing that'll fit into the tower cap once we put that in place. Now under here, I'll just take this out fairly quickly just for demonstration purposes. That sometimes the tower cap doesn't seal as well as it should, and then we include some Teflon tape. Should that you'll wrap clockwise around here about 9 times if it doesn't seal properly, but it usually does, so that's not a problem. I'm just looking ahead into the future. This machine might be 20 years old and the seals have degraded, and you could still have it sealed with the Teflon tape.
I like the way
So
you
now,
think.
so now Nick is going to go get the lye solution and we'll pour it into the machine.
Okay. So George, this will be from what the video I saw.
Yep.
These will be bubbling the water,
Correct.
and I will read from.
That's
this one.
correct.
Okay.
That's it. That's
Okay.
correct. Yes.
So now the lye.
Yeah,
we'll
we'll just use that one. Yep.
Oh, that's why the towel, you were saying that,
Yep.
because it could damage the paint you were
Yeah.
saying, right?
This paint is powder coated, so it's a lot less likely to get damaged than the original paint that we had. But still, it's good to protect it. And this catches drips not only of the lye solution, but just the regular water and everything like that.
That's good.
Yep.
One.
Oh, it's hot.
It's hot. Wow.
Oh, it's hot.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we didn't wait very long. It takes about an hour or so for it to cool down to room temperature.
It won't damage, George?
No,
No,
it's
no.
fine.
It warm when the machine's running. It warms right up.
Okay.
Yep. So it normally gets warm inside.
So that's the only time we would have to play with water.
Now the
on
next
top.
thing, yeah, and then now we'll put in 2 cups of water, so about half full on there, because it takes about a liter or a quart and a quarter to bring it up into about this range here. See, that didn't actually float the ball.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, that just brings it to a point where it'll perhaps start floating. So now we put another half a liter or half a quart
It's going up now.
into the machine. Yep, you just pour it right in. And then we don't worry about filling it full. We just, that's it, that's all we do, done. And
Oh, we don't have to go all the way
you
up?
don't have to go all the way up, especially on the first start. I do it, I make the instructions that way right in the manual so that people don't have to worry about overfilling and all the other kinds of things. I want people to start having a positive experience before learning more things.
Good, that's good.
Keep it simple.
Yep.
Okay,
But
so now
when
we're
we-
going to screw the lid on, and I'll just show, this is the seal in there that normally seals against the top of the ring here. But if for some reason that seal isn't sealing like it should, then you can wrap the Teflon tape around here and it'll still seal
Sounds like a plan.
quite nicely. Now this doesn't come off very often, only every 200 hours or so, and there's an hour meter on the back of the machine.
Yeah, that's a part
Let's
I
see.
like that.
So we have an hour meter on the back of the machine, which then will tell you, and right now it has 3 minutes on it, just for because we started it up to test it and stuff. So
So no guessing game, George.
no guessing game, no. It's in a couple hundred hours, between 100 and 200 hours, you would take this off and dump out the machine, dump all the lye out of the machine into a bucket, and I usually have here, right, for my demonstration bucket, I just have this particular thing here. Just it's a nice bucket from the dollar
You do
store.
have a video on that, how you flip it over?
There is an old video that does that, yeah.
Same
And-
same
yeah,
pattern,
but it's
okay.
the same thing, yeah.
Okay.
And because what happens is the machine makes sludge. Even though we're putting in only distilled water, you'll end up with some sludge in the machine. And the sludge can start plugging up the little orifices inside. So every couple hundred hours you pour it out, and then once the lye is poured out into a bucket like this, then you fill this with hot tap water and pour it out and fill it and pour it out until there's no sludge coming out. And then you pour out your hot tap water, pour this back in.
Yes.
Okay, now this probably has some sludge in it as well, so you can pour that through a coffee filter. And then or just wait until the sludge settles to the bottom and it'll be fine. Actually, did I have any? I thought I had a container here with some sludge in it. Is it sitting here? Oh yeah, here we go. So here's a jar that had some of the sludge settled to the bottom already. So it'll actually clarify all by itself if you just let it sit. Okay?
It's common sense, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there we go there. Now we have water in the machine, and we can see the liquid level here. We have the gas would be coming out of the machine through the top here. Now this is what we call the duckbill check valve, and you never plug this. Some people think, oh, there's a hole, you got to plug it. No, there isn't a hole. It's actually a check valve, which allows air to go into the machine, but does not allow gas to come out of the machine. And we'll get into that in just a minute of more what we do with that. But then the gas comes out here, goes down into the humidifier, goes down in the tube to the bottom of the humidifier, bubbles up through the liquid in the humidifier, goes out, the gas out here at the back, which then goes around, and at this point we have the gas hose coming up to the inlet of the drinking water bubbler, which we just set on top of the machine for demonstration purposes. You can put it anywhere you like. Okay, we're pretty much ready to plug it in, right?
Yep.
Okay, so then we plug in the machine, and obviously this is a 110 volt machine, so or 110, 120. So we plug it into that, and then we turn it on. And the first thing you hear, a little beep as the circuit board lights up, and then this red power button comes on. The light that comes on, that means you're getting power to the machine. This little green light comes on, which means that you're getting power to the timer switch. And this blue light comes on, which helps illuminate this sight tube so you can see this little ball a little better in there. And that's all that happens when you turn on the main power switch. And then, go ahead, when you turn on any of these timer switches above this one shuts it off. Shuts off the machine, but any of these timer buttons up here, when you turn it on,
These are minutes, George?
yes, these are all minutes. So it's 60, 30, 20, 10 minutes, and that's an off switch. So now we can see the little green light is on here next to the 60 minute, because that's the button I push. Now as it runs and it gets to 30 minutes, it'll go down and that light will turn on, and then this light turns on in 10 minutes and then it turns off. And this green light will light up down here. Now, the other thing about this timer switch is it has a continuous function. So if you push and hold the top one for 5 seconds, this little light down here turns red. And that means it's now on continuous. The timer is bypassed. And it'll just keep making gas until you shut it off or it runs out of fluid. So when it runs out of fluid, it'll run down to the low, and then it'll automatically shut itself off. You won't ever actually run out of fluid, but when it gets low, it'll shut itself off, and an alarm will sound, and this red light will light up. If you ever happen to put in too much fluid, or your duckbill valve isn't working correctly, and a vacuum forms in the machine, then what'll happen is it'll actually suck fluid back from here, suck it right up into the machine, and overfill the machine. So that's one way that the one safety thing to prevent overfilling or operating while it's overfull is it can happen if you have a duckbill valve stick, and so that's there.
Can I jump in, George?
Yep.
Okay, now on continuous,
Yes.
we can run it until the water goes down.
Right.
Okay, so there's no time limit?
No time limit. That's
It just
correct.
keeps running until you shut it off.
Okay.
So in theory, when this green light is on, it's making gas. And we can see over here it's making gas. So the green light is kind of redundant in that, really, if it's making gas, it means the machine's running. But this is just a check back to the electronic circuit board that is helpful for diagnostic purposes. Now here we have two readouts, one at the top, which is frequency, which generally we set at 332, and unless you know what you're doing, just leave it at 432, excuse me.
432.
432. Don't touch that. And then here is the 40%. Now that would be a good setting for you as an adult, a male, but women need a slightly lesser one. And you can look up in the chart in the book, which I believe is about page 26. Here we go. So yeah, 26, 27. So you can look up your weight, or you could look up your weight. I'm not going to say what it is, but whatever it is, you just look up what your healthy weight would be. If people are overweight, you just go by your healthy weight. You don't go by the actual weight that you are. Some people are underweight. It has to do with the size of the lungs. We're not dealing with the actual weight of the person. We're dealing with the size of the lungs.
You did mention that a few times.
Yes. So what we're trying to do is make sure that the people do not breathe too much hydrogen. When you have the cannulas hooked to the output here of the, you never hook the cannulas to the output of the tower or the output of the filter. You always want to breathe gas that has gone through the filter and through the humidifier before you breathe the gas. That's safe gas to breathe. There's no lye or anything in it by that point. Every 10 minutes of bubbling, this water is fully infused with the hydrogen that you need, the hydrogen and electrically expanded water. This becomes one of the most healthful waters on the planet, as tested by 3 worldwide water experts that all immediately bought a machine as soon as they yes, as soon as they tested the water. They did not leave without buying a machine. So that's quite a testimonial in and of itself.
Yes.
And so you would breathe from here. Now we do have a T-splitter so that 2 people can breathe at the same time. Mm-hmm. And if you're adjusted to then you would adjust it to whatever the lesser person is.
Okay.
Okay. The other person, because it has to do with when you're intaking hydrogen, your blood will get saturated. And if you're breathing a higher percentage, like 4%, it'll get saturated faster. But once the blood is saturated, it's saturated and takes very little you breathe out as much as you're breathing in. So or almost as much. Mm-hmm. So it takes very little to maintain saturation. So really the only difference between 2% hydrogen and 4% hydrogen is how fast your blood gets saturated.
Can I jump in?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you showed us the top one.
Yep.
Never to touch, but the bottom one, how do we
Right.
set?
So the top one is adjusted with what's called frequency here, okay? And the bottom one is adjusted on the right side with what's called duty. And in the manual, it shows all the pictures and stuff like that too. So if we want to go to 100% duty cycle, now one of the reasons we put this here so you can see the bubbles at the same time as this. So as we go to 100% duty cycle, you'll see the bubbles increase.
Oh.
See, quite a bit more,
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
And then let's just take it down to 0% duty cycle.
Oh, yeah.
And the bubbles go to nothing because there's 0 gas production.
Oh.
Okay, so let's take it back up to 40%, which is what we send out when we send out the machines.
Okay.
And because it's a good balance, but people will adjust it to whatever it is. And see how easy that is to adjust?
Yes, very easy.
So
And that's from the book.
So now, yes.
Okay.
And so from children, you can even do an infant safely with these machines. The idea is you never want a mixture of hydrogen being inhaled that's greater than 4%, because not because it's toxic, because you could actually breathe 100% of this gas. It's totally safe. But it's potentially explosive.
Yeah.
And that's why we're dealing with the safety. You don't now if you have an arm bag or a leg bag and you've bagged an arm and you're using 100%. By the way, you only go to the 40% when you're inhaling, or whatever the proper percentage is for you. You when you're everything else, just bubbling of water or bagging an arm or doing it in a bathtub or any of the other things, you can go with 100%. Which brings us to some of the other stuff.
Okay, I have to stop you
Yes.
just for a second?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's say I want to drink this water right now.
Yes.
I could go 100% here?
You could. Yep.
Okay.
You don't have to,
No,
but you could. Yes,
Yep.
absolutely.
Because-
As long as you're not inhaling,
Yes.
you could have it at 100%.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now, yeah, go ahead.
This thing here, for what you're saying, putting it at 100%,
Yes.
you could use this thing, and you put this in your tub,
Oh, I meant to ask you about that.
and
Yes.
bubble your tub. I've
Yeah.
done it, and
Yeah.
it does make a big difference.
Yeah?
Yep.
But it takes a little bit while of the tub to bubble it up, but that's what this is. Where you
So
can
you
leave
would
it at
bring
100.
you would bring the machine.
Into
The
the bathroom,
washroom.
or you could do an extension hose. Do we have an extension hose?
Okay, but even then, like we would
Not
bring
in
this
here,
in the
no.
Okay.
washroom,
I'll get one.
and we would take this.
Okay, so get a leg bag, an arm bag, and an extension hose.
Okay.
Okay.
And close it
Yeah,
up.
I'll get to that in just, yeah.
So George, if I want to do the bath,
Yes.
I would use the one that Nick just showed,
Yes.
and instead of inhaling, I would put it
Correct.
from here.
Yes, that's exactly right. You put it from
Perfect.
here, and you put it with the 100%.
Perfect.
Now, in theory, and I'm just going to say this in the video, I don't say it in the book, you could, if you're doing a bath and you're not going to be inhaling, you can do it directly from this bubbler here, okay?
Yeah.
But it's always best to
Yeah.
take the gas from this one here, because not only are you doing that, you're making your drinking water at the same time, and it should be 2 liters per person that drink during the day. So this would get changed out 4 times a day, because each person should be drinking 2 of these a day. Okay?
So all I do, I open the cap, put distilled water in, and just
Yes.
hook it back up, and
Yes.
let's go again.
Yes. And I will say that this is where the distilled water needs to be to go into the machine. This, I prefer distilled water, and I have many arguments that say people should be drinking distilled water. But if you want to do reverse osmosis or mineralized water or anything you want to drink, you put it in here.
Yeah, drink. Okay.
Okay.
But here specifically
Has to
for
be
the machine.
distilled.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, well, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, when we go, of course, if we take a bath with this,
Yeah.
no soap, I assume.
No, yeah, soap, anything you do,
Oh,
normally,
really?
no problem.
Normal.
In fact, good. You see, this is where it comes. It's good to have a person, because in Japan they actually use exactly this in spas, in the really elite spas.
Really?
And what they do is, if you put bubble bath soap in your bath water, the bubbles that come up are hydrogen bubbles, and they take those bubbles and they put them on the skin, like on the face, on the head, all the parts that aren't under the water, and for skin rejuvenation and stuff.
Really?
In the elite spas in Japan. Yes.
Really?
So it's good to just do the bubble bath and the whole shebang.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
Interesting.
You can do your soap balm and
Okay.
if Epsom salts or whatever a person uses.
And there's a fair difference in the way the tube looks like, or is it pretty well the same
It's
as...
it's the same as this tube, only longer. Because
Like the
when you take that,
no, the one for the bath?
yeah, the bath is this one here.
Yeah.
And now you can also put an extension hose on it, which is now
Oh, okay.
Right here.
which Nick has brought here.
Okay.
And the extension hose has an adapter right here.
Gotcha.
We'll show it in just a second. So in any case, you put this on here,
Yes.
and this hose actually can go to several different attachments. So Nick, you want to show before we go to the extension hose?
Oh, the goggles?
Yep. So we're taking the bubbler off, and then you can take that right out of the bag. Yep. Yep. And then you can actually put this to treat the eyes.
No way.
Yeah, you can treat the eyes by putting we drilled a hole in the top of the goggles. It's a tight fit,
Wow.
so that the gas will spray down into this area, which then you're putting on your face. Yep. And it treats all around the eye area
How long can I keep that on, George?
indefinitely. It's not a problem, as long as you like.
Wow, look at that, huh?
Okay? So you just fit that. Now notice that there's holes, ventilation top and bottom.
Yes.
Because we don't want a combustible mixture of hydrogen
Yes.
to build up around your eyes. So there you go. That's right. You just got the goggles
Coming through
on.
now?
Yep. Perfect. Just like that.
Okay, I don't
Good
feel
job.
anything. Is that good?
Yeah, that's good. That's fine. It's going in there. You don't want to have it so that so you actually feel anything, because then you're probably getting too much.
So I'm going to use this.
But so that's at 40%. We'll
Yeah.
just kick that up to 100% while you're actually doing the.
Am I going to start flying with this?
No. But your eyes should get better. Now my eyes, for example, I used to wear glasses. For 50 years I wore
You were
glasses.
saying that, yeah.
I'm not wearing glasses anymore. I see perfectly fine without them. Now I'm not 20/20, and I still have to use magnifying glasses or whatever in certain circumstances. But generally, for living, I don't need glasses anymore.
But just the fact that wow.
Yes. Okay, now the other
Nice.
thing you can use it for is the gloves. Now this is the reason we mainly include goggles with the machine. Like,
I like that.
we say it's there for safety and what have you, and people all think so.
Dual
but really,
purpose.
the main reason exactly.
Dual purpose.
So here we show that when you're treating your hands, like I used to have arthritis. As you can see, I have no arthritis, full functionality, no pain whatsoever in my hands. Okay, I actually had neuropathy in the palm of my hand. I lost the feeling in the palm of my hand, and so
Yep.
so anyway, you just put it in there, just holding it tight enough not to cut the blood circulation off, but it tight enough to make the gas in there, and then that treats the hand. The hydrogen actually goes right in through the skin into your blood, into taking away the inflammation and everything. And we've got gloves that can go right up the arm
I saw that.
and on the legs.
Wow.
So that's another way you can treat.
I like that.
So all those are ways that you can externally treat. So I say there's 4 protocols that this machine supports at the moment. Number 1 is inhaling the gas with the cannulas through the nose. Number 2 is using the gas externally, like we just did there, or in the bathtub. The third one is drinking the water, the hydrogen-rich water, and the fourth is treating the wounds and the skin with the hydrogen-rich water. So you can use a cloth or a mat or something and treat that. So then here's the spot applicator. So if you happen to have a wound or rash or anything where you just had a spot, and actually come to think of it, the hydrogen-rich water does really well with age spots and stuff like that as well. So I've got several people who have just made them go right away. It takes about a couple of months. You have to keep applying it every day, but then they just fade away to nothing. And here's
This here?
Nick. Yeah.
Right there was this long, and it was down to 1 layer of skin. I wiped out on a motorcycle.
Burnt?
No, wiped out on a motorcycle pavement.
Yep.
It was down to 1 layer of skin. Now it's that, and that was only a year and a half ago.
So
'Cause I
the
got one
scar
of these
used to
at
be
home.
this big and white, and now not only is the scar gone back, but the skin is regaining its color. And in a while,
And they
that'll,
said it might not have.
so the scar is gone. It's only the white
Yeah.
skin there, and it's gradually regaining its color. Yep.
Nice.
And there used to be 5 here that went all the way down, and now they're just barely.
Because you do it on this side too.
Yeah,
You
I
the
use the
or
glove.
the
I put the
yes.
glove on.
Yep.
I got an operation on my knee. I was back here in 3 weeks
Yep.
using that machine.
He healed.
And I go up and down them stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
You see some of that?
With the goggles, how about cataracts? Could that help the cataracts?
I think it would. I don't have
worth
any
a try.
proof yet, but
Okay.
it can't hurt. It's totally a non-toxic gas, and our bodies are 62% hydrogen by volume. Is our most important macronutrient. The next 24% is oxygen, and the last 12%, or the next 12% is carbon, and then 2% is everything else. So 2% of us is what nutritionalists are saying, oh, magnesium and vitamins and all the other kinds of minerals, and they're talking about the 2%. Don't you think that the 62% needs to be addressed first?
Yes. George, if I may,
Yes.
You mentioned on a couple of interviews that you had that you eat less.
Yes.
Is that something that you're going to start noticing decently?
In a reasonably short amount of time,
Yeah.
yes. So
You will
what,
actually
now,
feel it?
I have about 10 pounds more I'd like to lose, and it's been that way for a couple of years. But I only eat once a day, and there's been times when I didn't eat at all during a day.
Don't you get
because
hungry?
no, I don't. I really don't get hungry. Most of my nutrition is actually calorie-free hydrogen
So
food.
how long do you do this a day, George?
Well, actually, I do about 4 or 6 hours a day personally.
Yeah, you
Say,
got one set
I
up
have it set up
here.
next to my computer, and I sit to the computer a lot. Now, a lot of people can't do that, which brings us to another important point. When you first start, as we pointed out before, you want to start slow, because if your body is actually hydrogen deficient, and most people are, it's like you've been on a fast, and it's a food, and you don't get off a fast with a 7-course meal. You're gonna feel sick, and that's essentially what happens if you have too much hydrogen too soon. Now, an example with myself is the first time I breathed hydrogen, which I actually have the video online of that. I breathed it for 15 minutes at 6:30 in the night, and that night I didn't sleep at all. I was totally alert and awake, and I just kept laying there thinking, I'm going to fall asleep, I'm going to fall asleep. I didn't fall asleep all night.
Your wife?
Okay, but yes, that's how the story goes. My current wife, when she first did it, 6:30 at night, about 15 minutes, she just, it put her out like a light. She had one of the best night's sleep she could ever remember. Just so it's totally different. You have no idea what's going to happen. So what I say is it's a good idea to start with 5 minutes 3 times a day, because we've determined that multiple times during the day is better than one long time. It's kind of like eating. You eat 3 times a day. It's good to do this 3 times a day, kind of thing. So and you could do that. You could have it set up at the dinner table, and you could be when you sit down for your breakfast, you're doing your hydrogen treatment. When you sit down for your supper, you're doing your hydrogen treatment.
But of course, you would take this down to 40.
Exactly. When you're actually
Just
inhaling,
wanna
that's
make
correct.
sure, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Mine's
And
right.
when you're drinking the water, it's a good idea to drink your water about 20 to 30 minutes before you start eating. Then your body becomes hydrated, and it has everything it needs to make the stomach acids and stuff, but it doesn't dilute the stomach acids for the digestion of your food. Okay, that's all reestablished. Yeah. So,
And I have mine sitting beside my desk when I'm sitting watching TV. I just put it on 30 minutes.
yep. And some people breathe with it all night. They do the thing like we just did. It set it up, and they just breathe all night.
Would that replace
Now
the
that-
CPAP?
No, it doesn't replace a CPAP, unfortunately. And I do have sleep apnea, but luckily I have the kind that if I sleep on my side, then I'm good. It doesn't choke me. But if I sleep on my back, I'm 96 out of 100 apnea. If I sleep on my side, I'm 6 out of 100 apnea. So
Okay.
my tongue doesn't fall in
Okay.
it, and I don't snore. Terrible snores. Okay, yeah, it sounds like you know all about that. Okay, what was I thinking just a minute ago?
Sorry,
Let's see.
George.
Yes. Oh, yes. So when it comes to multiple times, so we say 5 minutes 3 times a day, then increase by a minute each day until you're doing, so it's 6 minutes 3 times a day the second day, until you're doing 20 minutes 3 times a day. By the time you're doing an hour a day with no weirdness, that's what I call it, because we have no idea what's going to happen. But because every body is different. So once you're doing an hour a day, you can breathe, as far as we're telling with all the people we're seeing, 24/7 if you want.
So once you reach your 20 minutes, you've got a pretty good idea then, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And by that time, you should start seeing something. Like the psoriasis that I had disappeared in 3 weeks, which would be about that amount of time. It just was gone. And actually, the psoriasis I had psoriasis on my elbows and knees and feet, and the stuff on my feet was thick enough that the skin actually peeled off
Yeah, you see
like a
that.
snake.
Yeah.
It was quite disconcerting.
What's going on?
What's going on? My skin is
on?
peeling
Yeah.
off, but the
Yeah.
skin underneath was baby skin smooth. It was beautiful, and still is.
Still- I was
Yeah,
just
it's
gonna say.
beautiful. Yeah, so that was good.
Do we shut the machine at night?
You can turn it on, turn it off, whatever. you like.
Whatever.
Yep. So if you
Because once the water
if you turn
is
it off
done-
like that, now once the water is done like that, it has a 24-hour half-life.
Yeah, you were
Okay.
saying that, in the fridge.
So in the fridge with a sealed container. So if you're, or at room temperature, like you can have it in a water bottle
Sealed.
and seal it, yeah, and drink it during the day, and that's fine. You'll still get a therapeutic value even toward the end of the day. But generally, I have it drank in a couple hours or whatever. So what I do is I actually have one of these for breakfast. That's my breakfast.
Really?
And that gets my body going during the day. And of course, then I'm breathing this while I'm sitting at the computer. And then sometime between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., I have my meal. And if I don't have my meal in those 4-hour period, I just skip the meal for the day. I don't even bother eating, because eating later for me is not good. If I'm going to have the one meal in the day, then in that middle of the day is best.
Makes sense.
So and of course I don't eat so much that I get lethargic and then can't do anything in the afternoon. I just, anyway, that's for me. If I'm just going to eat once, and therefore, okay.
Can you repeat one thing for me, please?
Yes, yes.
Okay, once we start the machine, 10 minutes, it's ready.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Now, it's ready even at the 40%, but I generally tell people 100% is 10 minutes.
For the water.
But for the water, yeah, it's and so if you want to make most of the water is infused with the hydrogen because the curve is like this. It goes up and then over like that. So if you do 100% for 10 minutes, you're going to get up in this range here.
Gotcha.
If you do 40% for 10 minutes, you're going to be in here. You get
Okay.
about 80% of the of the saturation.
So if you're only going to do the water, might as well put it all the way up.
Yes.
And then turn it down and then
Yes.
inhale it. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
That takes care of that.
All right. So then the extension hose you can take and put to a bathroom, or you can even take the machine into the bathroom.
extension?
It's a case
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
it's
then-
25 feet.
Okay.
And then they have the leg bags or the arm bags
Yeah, we'll
kind of
need
thing.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Okay.
that it works on the same principle as Nick showed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there
yes.
is
just
there
a bag.
something that
Yeah.
tightens
Yes.
it? There's a
There's
Perfect.
yeah, it's got the bands in there and everything.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
absolutely. Again, you don't tighten it down so much as to cut off the blood circulation.
Yes, of course.
Because you actually want some of the gas to escape as fresh gas comes in.
Oh, do you?
That way you get the
Oh.
a
Okay,
little
I
bit
missed-
better of a
okay,
benefit. Yes.
That's a good. That's a
Yeah.
good point. So we
Again,
leave
I
it-
do so much better when I have an audience.
Okay, so you leave it a little bit so that it can exchange.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, can we drink as much as we want?
Yes.
As
Yes.
much as we want.
Yes.
That's all George drinks.
Yes. Since 2005, that's all I've drank is
Yeah,
distilled
I know
water.
that
That's
you keep
yeah.
saying that.
Yeah.
How would you suggest she has bad hips? So would she use that little thing right here?
The spot applicator is a good thing, good way to go. It's
For-
gonna
for
it's
the
gonna
hip.
get everywhere in the body. Oh, that's another good thing to. Yes, when you're inhaling or you are drinking, then your body decides where the stuff goes inside. But when you are spot applicating or putting the bags on the hands or arms or stuff, then you're deciding where it goes. So if there's this painful spot, specific spot on the back or hip or something, then I'd rig something up like the spot applicator or whatever
Okay.
to treat it from the outside, because then you're deciding I want to
Where
treat
it
this
goes.
spot. But anything you're inhaling, the body's deciding where it goes.
Okay.
And the body may be deciding, it's more important for me because the body is incredible healing machine. And it'll heal itself once it's given the energy and food that it needs to do that.
You mentioned also a couple of times on the swab, like to put water and then
Yes.
an injector.
Yes, with the syringe. Oh, and that
So-
brings us to something we haven't done yet. When you go to refill the machine with water, you always refill it from the humidifier. So, Nick, if you want to just put a squirt of water in the
I use
machine.
this
Yeah, okay, yep.
syringe over here.
No, you can't use that one.
No,
Somebody
can't use
did
that
the
one.
wrong thing. Here's a good point.
There's another part.
Okay, I
There's
keep
one right
telling
there.
the people not to store the syringes with the plunger all the way to the bottom because it can
This
stick
comes
there, and then when you pull out the, or rather the piston all the way to the bottom, you
Sticks.
pull it, and then you pull this and thunk,
Yeah.
all of a sudden now your syringe doesn't work.
Yeah, it sticks.
So always store the syringe with the piston slightly up. So if it sticks, the first thing you can do is push. So just push there. And breaks
And
it
then-
loose, then you can pull back.
Okay, good
So
point.
there's we got to keep this so that we can show people
Yeah, that's
why
good.
I say that.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what happens is we're gonna see that we need some water in there, and generally what you do is you just wait till it gets down. We're doing this for an example right now.
Yeah, of
Till it gets
course.
down here,
Yep.
and from here to here is exactly this amount of water.
Okay.
So you just wait until it gets down near low, and then you just put that amount of water in, and you're going to be great. Everything's going to work great. But right now we're doing it just to show how you can take a full syringe full there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to use the swab now. So we're taking the water from here.
Yeah, we're taking the water from there. You don't need to use this if you want to prevent the drips, yeah. But then you just stick it down there like that, hold it against there, and squirt it in.
See
Yep,
it
you
going
see the
in?
water
Yes, I
just
see it,
squirting
yeah.
right in there. Yep.
Okay, so you're gonna have to explain to me what that does, though.
Well,
That
that's
fills up
just,
the
that's just filling the
machine.
machine with water.
Without
now
taking
that-
this
Oh,
lid
The
out.
I
bulb
see
will
what you're
float up
saying.
higher, okay?
there's water there.
So yeah, so you don't.
Second.
That's right. That's right. So we're just. Yeah, actually, if you do, you don't even have to hold the cloth up there. If you just put the cloth down here, and
Yeah.
any drips would just drip onto it, and then it would keep it from there. Because down here, this black ring underneath actually isn't sealed, so any water there could actually drip into the machine.
Okay.
So we just put it there.
And then when you take out of here, you just use distilled water to bring it back
Yeah.
up to the line.
So then, yeah, that's right. You refill the humidifier. Now, normally the humidifier would be empty by this time because we would have waited until it was down here and then we would have put all the water in it and then refilled it. But we're just doing a demonstration. So there's several different reasons why we fill the water through the duckbill valve. One of which is to prevent the duckbill, to maintain the duckbill valve cleanliness. Because if it gets some lye crystals on the inside of it, it'll actually stick shut.
So how many times do we do this?
Well, this is about every 10 hours. And it takes about 10, and maybe even 24 hours. If you're running mostly at 40%.
Okay, whenever this goes.
Yep.
Oh,
And that's hours of operation.
Okay.
So if you're using it even an hour a day, 24 hours, it's a month.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to be running it. So,
So you
it's
would
not
do
very.
that when this goes down, that's
Yeah.
when you would take
Yeah.
the
That's right.
quantity. So if you do it, you will remember it. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
gotcha.
right. Okay,
So you just put a little bit just to,
Yep.
okay.
okay.
So
And-
when-
Yeah, because it'll show you right back where it comes up, because it was here, and then we put more in, came up to here.
Okay, good stuff.
Yep,
And then so when this goes down and we fill this, yes,
Yes.
distilled
Yeah.
water. Okay,
exactly.
good.
And again, I use distilled water here, but you can.
Yes, I understand that part.
And then the
yeah.
other thing is, so people can buy their own home distillers, or you can just, like, Walmart sells distilled water for $1 a gallon. Is
Yeah,
it?
Or dollar store too.
Yeah, the dollar store as well, yeah, say.
okay. How do we check if our distilled, because you did mention that on a couple of the interview, like sometimes some of the places they have distilled water, but it's not really good quality distilled water. Could that,
Yeah, pretty much any distilled water they sell is good enough
Well,
for the machine, yeah.
we get ours where the guy does it himself through the machines, okay?
Okay,
Okay, so have you ever heard of people like with varicose veins?
yes,
Did that ever help?
it did help.
I would think.
Yes, yes,
Okay, so
yes.
Okay,
It gets the blood circulation going and everything again.
okay, in the package. Okay, so we have to buy the bags extra, like that's
Sure.
not in the package, right? Am I
That's correct.
on
That's
thinking?
correct, yeah.
Okay, so in the package, the glove and the leg,
Right,
we have to, okay.
those would be extras,
and,
yeah. And the cannulas,
Yes.
two cannulas come with the machine.
two,
Yeah,
one for each, okay.
yeah. So Nick has them there, they're showing it.
Okay, so you would use, the leg one you would use for the feet too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same
yes,
thing,
yes,
huh?
yeah,
Yeah,
leg
it
and
is.
feet, yes.
Wherever
Okay.
you want.
I love that you've written down
Okay.
questions. That was an excellent, good job.
What
What
about,
about inflammation? Does that help with the inflammation?
Oh, big time. Inflammation and oxidative, anything having to do with oxidative and inflammation, huge. That's one of the first things it does. Gets rid of. Yeah.
most,
All through the body.
they're breathing more than drinking, or
Well, it's a combination of two. And that's a good question, too, because there's over 1,000 scientific studies now of over 170 ailments. And in every single case, the gas was effective with zero negative side effects, only positive side effects. So it's, I'm sorry, I got off the track just a little bit.
No, we're just thinking if for the inflammation in her case, because
Right.
she does have a lot of inflammation.
Yes.
Is the water better than?
Right. That reminds me again. Okay. Yes. So some things in the scientific studies is showing the water is better than the inhalation,
Oh,
and some things the inhalation is better than the drinking of the water.
okay.
So when you're doing both, you get everything.
Okay, good stuff. Okay, I'm good. Do you have anything?
Wow. This is awesome. Okay, I'm going to shut the video off and thank you.
Oh, one more.
Oh, here we go.
Did you ever consider, like I do intermittent fasting?
Yes.
So very possibly I could go down to 1 meal a day
Yes.
easily. With
Absolutely.
Probably.
Yep.
And
That's essentially what I'm doing is intermittent fasting. It's called the Warrior's Diet, where I'm only eating once a day, That's the short interval, right? But I could do 2 or 3 days and then eat as well. Yeah.
So what do you think would happen in my case? The way I fast, my last meal is at noon.
Okay.
1
Yep.
o'clock by the time
Yep.
I'm done. So by the time I go to bed, my stomach is empty.
Yep.
So there's nothing, my body's not. So first thing in the morning, or probably would be good to drink some water before going to bed, maybe even.
Yeah. No, I don't do that because then they're getting up in the night.
Well, okay, but well, that could keep me up too, because
Yeah.
you were saying your experience was.
Yeah. Well,
So
that was
first-
at first. Now I can breathe, and a lot of people do breathe all night and have a beautiful sleep. And now I can breathe, and it's my body wasn't used to it, so that was my reaction. It just kept me alert. Although I will say, when I'm sitting at my computer and I feel myself starting to nod off, or like I don't want to work anymore, like I put my cannulas on because I forgot. Oh, I just need to, and it just brightens right up. My mind becomes alert without the buzz, like you get coffee or something like that, and I'm able to just keep right on working.
Good.
So one of the things I've done with the people who are assembling these machines is I'm setting up machines at the workstations so they can breathe the gas and they can keep working.
Good stuff. Can I taste the water? No, it's been
Absolutely,
long enough. I
yes,
can have
yes,
some water?
yes, absolutely.
Good stuff.
Do you want to grab a cup from the?
I want some water.
Absolutely, grab 2 cups.
And if I fly out of here, I'll say, George, we're good.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna go inside and sit down and
Yeah.
take a
Oh, I'm sorry. There's chairs right around the corner there. I should have told you. They're just right behind that. Okay.
Looks nice
Her
outside.
It is
inflammation,
beautiful,
she
yes.
has, her
Yes, yes.
inflammation is-
Unless it doesn't belong to you.
No, it's all mine. This is and my wife's.
And like that was the main purpose. Because when I first heard you on Patrick,
Yes,
back in June,
yes,
I said, because you had a long interview in June, you had 2
Yes.
hours.
yes.
And I said, ooh. And then when you came back a couple of weeks ago, you came back, I said, okay, I'm in.
Yes.
For her.
Yes.
I said, I'm in.
Well, it's very important for her. Absolutely.
Good go, Nick.
Yeah.
Don't
Now
screw
what
up
happens?
all the
Yeah, when he pulls it out, there'll be some drips from the thing.
Okay, so he knows.
So we
that.
just
See
put the
that?
cloth there to
Yeah.
put the drips on. Yep.
There we go.
There we go.
So it's easy to transport, huh?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, you
From
can.
here, take it to
Yeah.
the bat.
Yeah.
And that is pure, distilled water.
This is just still
Yep.
water.
Right now, we're using RO water. That's what we've been using.
Yep. And you can
But-
put RO water here, but distilled over there. Yeah.
Well, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get that.
And then this one's for your wife.
Yeah, I'll wait until she comes back.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay.
Doesn't taste any different.
Yeah, it should taste smooth.
It does.
It does, yeah.
Distilled is well.
Distilled. When I'm drinking distilled, I find it harsh in my throat. Like my throat doesn't want to swallow
You're
it.
very right on this.
But this, your throat, it just goes down like silk.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
You're right. Now that you say that, yeah.
Yep.